you have 2 good engine starts, you're clear to disconnect the headset. We'll see you on the left with the pin. Thanks a lot.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Extra 200, and I will give you a little brief as to what we are doing today. We're taking off out of Falmey Airfield, which is right next to Duxford. Here is just north of London, taking off runway 25 and then a right turn out northbound and a right turn again, passing to the south of Cambridge, north of Duxford, and then heading out towards just to the east of those wind farms. That's where we're going to have the aerobatic area, and that is where we will try and complete the Sportsman Aerobatic Sequence all in one go, and hopefully complete the course and move on to some more advanced stuff from there on. So we just reached the aerobatic area just to the east of those wind farms. At this point we perform what we always do before starting any aerobatics, which is called hazel checks. So height, do we have enough height to recover? For the Sportsman competency level, it's 1,000 feet above ground, although in our case will be a lot higher than that. Airframe, well, in the Extra 200 there's not all that much to check because we haven't got retractable undercarriage or any flaps or anything like that. Security, that would be the harnesses, so we do a little bit of a negative G maneuver, which is what we're about to perform right now. So basically just pull up a little bit and then put a bit of forward pressure on the stick and look at that key tag as a bit of a G-force meter there. So at this point I've decided, after pushing forward about negative 1G, that I'm coming out of my seat a little bit too much, so I've got to tighten myself down. After that we check the engine, make sure the temperatures and pressures are all good, have a look at the location, or in a safe location, we're not above any towns or anything like that, and then look out. So yeah, left and right, make sure there's no other aircraft beneath us, and at this point we are ready to go. And starting the Sportsman Aerobatic Sequence, we have first of all a 45-degree upline. So we're just diving down 160 knots there, check, and then a pull up to 45, check there, roll, inverted, keep the 45 upline. It wasn't a very crisp roll, I must admit. After that, pull through a split S, essentially. Over here, everything's going pretty well. It was about an 80 knot entry speed. We're up to about 150 knots here, and check on the horizontal, and pull up to a stall turn, or a hammerhead if you're from America. At this point I think it's all going pretty well. That was actually very, very well executed, if I do say so myself. After this point we pull out. It's about 160 knots there, back into the horizontal. At this point we delay the next maneuver, which is a loop. The reason being is because there's a very, very strong westerly wind, which is where we're heading right now, and it keeps blowing us off back the way every time after every maneuver. So positioning over the ground here, it's actually one of the more challenging things I find. And those are the wind farms you see down there. They're facing directly west of us, essentially. Those are the ones that you saw on the little Sky Demon map that I showed you earlier. So that's what we're using for orientation, and it's quite difficult to orientate yourself using all these fields. There's no distinctive big motorways or roads or anything like that, which is tricky. So pulling up through half a loop here, there's a bit of wing wobble there. That was the aircraft just about on the verge of a stall, so it was very difficult. Then this roll off the top looks pretty easy, actually. One of the most challenging things that I found in the entire sequence. It's just because the aircraft is so close to stall speed there, trying to roll it and be on heading as well is a real challenge, especially when the aircraft is really slow. There's a lot of adverse yaw, so you have to use a lot of rudder to counteract that, and I think that was one of the better versions that I've done. And I must say as well that this is actually the third attempt of the entire sequence that I've done. Before that I wasn't really looking at the positioning over the ground. I was just more concentrated in getting the maneuvers, but in this one, this is the third one in a row that we're doing, and we're delaying some of the maneuvers when we're heading west. Over here it's a 45-degree upline. Let's check back and go into a 1.5 spins. So we're just slowing it down now. We're keeping it level, basically, level flat as much as possible. There it goes, and there's one rotation and half, and check. And actually that was one of the best 1.5 spins that I have done, I believe, out of the 3 sequences there. So checked it there in the horizontal, and then a very gentle quarter clover, which is basically a sort of loop where you end up at 90 degrees to your initial heading by the time you invert it. There we go, check that. At this point, again, just delaying the next maneuver very slightly here, and it will be a right turn to 17 for the last maneuver. So, competition turn. I'm doing all of this purely visually, but you can see the altimeter is staying fairly pinned, so judged that pretty well, I guess. There's those wind farms facing to the west. So check it there. And at this point, again, we delay this maneuver very slightly, flying westbound again into wind, which is actually almost cheating a little bit because it gives me a little more time to get a tiny bit more speed. Now we're going into essentially a sort of reverse split S, or like a half cuban. And it's actually very challenging trying to keep the, you saw the airspeed there dropped all the way down to right about 40 knots, so trying to finesse the airplane over the top there without having any wing drops or stalling. At this point we're just coming into land, runway 25, and side slipping the extra down, just so you can see over the nose essentially, because there's no flaps, so this thing has sort of fairly high-ish attitude as you come in, so you've got to slice slip it down. And also it's a bit better to control the speed that way, looking for about 85 knots, just a round off here just before the numbers. And then don't think this was the nicest touchdown in the world, but it was okay.
Versus normal, 74%. Runway disarmed. 90 knots.
Alright, any last word? What are you doing? What? Oh dear. Let's try that one